There's a certain weight to stillness, isn't there? I'm sitting here, perched on the edge of our sleek gray sectional in this high-rise apartment that feels more like a museum than a home. The city sprawls out below me through floor-to-ceiling windows, a glittering maze of lights that never sleep. Up here, though, it's so quiet I can almost hear my own thoughts echoing off the polished concrete floors. The only sound is the distant hum of traffic, a reminder of a world moving on without me. I'm Adriana, 34, caught in a life that looks like a dream from the outside, but feels like a slow unraveling on the inside. I've been married to Mark for 8 years now. He's 37, a man with a mind like a steel trap, always 3 steps ahead in business, and somehow just out of reach in everything else. To the world, we're the golden couple, jet-setting to places like Bali and Dubai, sipping champagne at charity galas, running our tech consulting firm with the kind of synergy people write articles about. Our social media is a curated gallery of perfection. I'm scrolling through it now on my phone, staring at our latest post from Santorini. There we are, arms wrapped around each other against a backdrop of whitewashed buildings and endless blue sea, the caption proclaiming, "We're living our best life." I almost laugh out loud at the irony. It's a lie, polished and filtered for likes. The truth is, Mark and I haven't touched each other in months. Not a hug, not a graze of fingertips, nothing. We share a king-sized bed every night, but we're as distant as if we were sleeping on opposite sides of the globe. I can't pinpoint when it started. This chasm between us. Maybe it was gradual, a slow erosion we didn't notice until the ground gave way. Our conversations now are purely functional. Schedules, meetings, reminders about invoices. At night, I lie there staring at the back of his head, the curve of his shoulder under the sheets, wondering when we stopped turning toward each other. Was it after the first big contract, when work became our only shared language? Or was it something deeper, something I missed? I keep replaying moments in my mind, searching for the fracture. But it's like trying to grab smoke. All I know is the emptiness has settled into my bones. A quiet ache I can't shake. And yet, there's a part of me that still yearns for him, for us. I want to reach across the divide, to feel his warmth again. But I'm terrified we're too far gone. What if I'm the one who let this happen? Should I have fought harder? Said more? Demanded we face whatever this is? Or has Mark just checked out, leaving me to haunt this perfect life alone? I don't know. Some days, I find myself craving something, anything, to shatter this monotony, to force us to look at each other and see what's left. Here I am, gripping the steering wheel a little too tightly as our car glides through a quiet, industrial part of the city. It's dusk, that strange in-between hour where the world seems to hold its breath, and the fading light casts long shadows over empty warehouses and cracked asphalt. The hum of the engine is the only sound breaking the silence between Mark and me. I glance at him in the passenger seat, his face half lit by the glow of passing streetlights, but he's staring straight ahead, unreadable as ever. A few days ago, he dropped that cryptic bombshell about needing to try something different, something to fix us. I didn't know what he meant then, and even now, as we drive to some unknown destination, I'm not sure I want to find out. My stomach churns with a mix of dread and curiosity. What are we even doing out here? Why does this feel like we're crossing a line we can't come back from? It started with Mark's suggestion of what he called a psychological experiment for couples. He brought it up over breakfast, of all things, as casually as if he were proposing a weekend getaway. He said it was designed to rebuild intimacy through unconventional means, something a colleague had recommended. A private center, he called it. But he was vague on the details, his words clipped and careful. I remember laughing at first, a sharp, nervous sound that echoed in our sterile kitchen. The idea seemed absurd, like something out of a sci-fi movie or a bad self-help book. Who would sign up for something so bizarre? But then, as his gaze held mine, I felt that familiar pang of desperation creep in. What if this was our chance? What if we could rediscover something we'd lost, or at least figure out if there was anything left to salvage? I wanted to believe it, even if every rational part of me screamed to walk away. So, against my better judgment, I agreed. And now, here we are, driving into the unknown, my heart thudding louder with every passing mile. We pull up to a sleek, minimalist building that seems out of place in this gritty part of town. Its mirrored glass walls reflect the last streaks of orange in the sky, but there's no sign, no name, just an eerie silence that wraps around the place like a shroud. I turn off the engine, and for a moment, neither of us moves. My palms are sweaty as I grip the keys, hesitating to step out into whatever this is. Mark doesn't look at me as he opens his door, his movements precise, almost mechanical. Inside, the lobby is just as unsettling. Sterile white walls, no reception desk, no signs of life, just a single elevator at the far end. The air feels too still, like it's been untouched for years. I trail behind Mark, my sneakers squeaking faintly on the polished floor, and watch as he approaches a tinted window I hadn't noticed at first. A form slides out from behind the glass, handed to us by someone I can't quite see. My pulse quickens as Mark takes the form, signs it without a word, and hands it back. Then, without explanation, he gestures for me to follow him down a narrow hallway. The fluorescent lights overhead flicker slightly, casting an uneven glow on the plain, gray walls. Each step feels heavier, like I'm walking deeper into something I don't fully understand. At the end of the hallway, there's a door, unremarkable except for the small plaque that reads Room 7. Mark stops, turns to me, and for the first time since we got here, his eyes meet mine. There's something unreadable in them, a mix of determination and distance, before he says, "This is where I leave you. Jason will take it from here." My throat tightens. Jason? Who's Jason? But before I can ask, Mark turns and walks back down the hallway, leaving me standing there, alone, with the weight of his absence pressing down on me. I push the door open, and the first thing that hits me is the silence. It's not just quiet. It's suffocating, like the air itself is holding its breath. The room is small, dimly lit, with soft ambient lighting that casts long shadows across the bare walls. There's a single chair in the center, a microphone on a stand in front of it, and nothing else. No windows, no decorations, just an oppressive stillness that makes my skin crawl. I step inside, and the door clicks shut behind me with a finality that sends a shiver down my spine. That's when I see him, Jason, standing in the corner, half hidden in the shadows. He's tall, lean, with sharp features that seem almost too precise, like they've been carved rather than formed. His eyes are intense, piercing, and they lock onto mine with an unsettling focus. His presence fills the tiny space, making it feel even smaller, like the walls are closing in. He steps forward, his movements slow and deliberate, and his voice comes out low and measured, almost hypnotic. "Adriana, welcome. I'm Jason, and I'll be guiding you through this experiment. It's about the edge of intimate perception, a study of how far emotional and physical boundaries can be pushed." His words hang in the air, heavy with implication, and I feel a knot of unease tighten in my chest. He gestures to the microphone, his long fingers lingering in the air for a moment before he continues. "Everything you feel will be recorded on audio. Nothing leaves this room unless you choose to share it." There's something in the way he says it, a quiet assurance that feels more like a challenge than a comfort. I nod, though I'm not sure why, my mouth too dry to form words. My eyes keep darting to the microphone, this cold, unfeeling thing that's about to capture. What, exactly? I don't even know what I'm agreeing to. Jason steps closer, close enough that I can feel the heat of his presence, and my body tenses instinctively. His gaze never wavers as he reaches out, his fingers brushing against my neck as he adjusts a small clip-on mic. The touch is fleeting, barely there, but it's enough to make me freeze. My breath catches in my throat, loud in the suffocating silence of this soundproof room. He leans in, his voice dropping to a whisper that sends a chill through me. Everything is under control. Your husband wants to know how much you can take. The words hit me like a punch, sharp and disorienting. Mark? Mark wants this? My mind reels, but before I can process it, something shifts inside me. It's not desire, not really, but a strange, reckless surrender. A giving in to the moment, to this forbidden space where rules don't seem to apply. I don't stop him as he moves closer still, as the boundaries I've clung to for so long crumble in the span of a heartbeat. It's not passion that drives me, it's a loss of control, a betrayal of everything I thought I stood for. Every sound, every uneven breath, every whispered word is captured by that unrelenting microphone. Preserving this, I'm still in this suffocating soundproof room, the air heavy with the echoes of what just happened. My chest feels tight, like the walls are pressing in closer with every breath I take. The dim light casts a faint glow over the bare space, and that microphone still stands there in the center, a silent witness to my unraveling. Its faint hum buzzes in the background, a constant reminder of the choices I've made, the lines I've crossed. I can't shake the feeling that it's mocking me, replaying every moment of weakness in its cold, mechanical memory. My hands are clammy, my heart pounding so hard I'm sure it could be picked up by that damn mic even now. I'm alone again, or at least I think I am. Until I hear the faint click of the door opening behind me. I turn, my breath catching, and there's Mark stepping in from the hallway. His face is a blank slate, completely unreadable, as if the last hour, or however long it's been, never happened. He doesn't look at me, not really. His eyes slide past mine, focusing on some invisible point beyond my shoulder, and it sends a shiver down my spine. There's no anger, no sadness, no hint of anything I can grasp onto, just this eerie calm that feels more dangerous than any outburst could. In his hand, he's holding something small, a flash drive, and his grip on it is steady, almost too steady, like he's been preparing for this moment. My own hands are trembling as I watch him step closer, each of his movements deliberate, measured, like he's playing out a script I don't know the lines to. He stops just a few feet away, and finally, his gaze flickers to mine for the briefest of seconds before dropping again. Without a word, he extends his hand, the flash drive resting in his palm like an offering, or a verdict. My fingers shake as I reach out, and when I take it, the cold metal feels heavier than it should, like it's carrying the weight of every mistake I've made in this room. His voice cuts through the silence then, flat and devoid of any warmth. Listen to it yourself, then we'll decide what's next. That's all he says. No explanation, no accusation, just those clipped words hanging between us like a guillotine waiting to fall. Before I can even process what he means, he turns on his heel, his footsteps echoing faintly as he heads back to the door. It clicks shut behind him with a finality that makes my stomach lurch, and I'm alone again, clutching this tiny piece of plastic and metal that feels like it could burn a hole through my skin. The silence creeps back in, thicker now, oppressive, broken only by that incessant hum from the microphone. I stare down at the flash drive in my hand, my mind racing with 1,000 questions I don't want answers to. What's on here? Is it everything? The raw, unfiltered audio of what happened with Jason? Every word, every sound, every moment of weakness laid bare for anyone to hear? My throat tightens at the thought, a wave of nausea rolling through me. I can still feel the ghost of Jason's touch, the way I let myself fall into that reckless void, and the shame of it burns hot in my chest. But underneath that shame, there's something else. Something I can't quite name. A strange, unsettling realization that I don't regret it. Not entirely. And that scares me more than anything else. How can I not regret something that could shatter everything I've built with Mark? Everything we've pretended to be. I sink into the chair in the center of the room, the flash drive still gripped tightly in my palm, and I can't stop wondering what Mark meant by, "What's next?" Was he listening the whole time, somewhere beyond these walls, hearing every second as it unfolded? Or did he only get the recording after, a cold, clinical summary of my betrayal? My mind spirals, replaying his blank expression, the way he wouldn't meet my eyes. Was this his plan all along? Some twisted game to push me to the edge and see if I'd jump? It's late now, well past midnight, and I'm holed up in my private office in our apartment. This little room is my sanctuary, a cluttered mess of papers, books, and half-finished ideas, a stark contrast to the pristine order of the rest of our home. The only light comes from the laptop screen in front of me, its cold, bluish glow washing over my face, casting sharp shadows across the walls. I can barely make out the shapes of things around me, the stack of notebooks on the shelf, the empty coffee mug on the desk, the framed photo of Mark and me from happier times, now turned face down because I can't bear to look at it. The silence here is different from the soundproof room at that strange center. It's heavier somehow, laden with the weight of what I'm about to do. My heart is a drum in my chest, relentless, as I sit here at my desk, the flash drive plugged into the laptop. It's been sitting there for what feels like hours, a tiny, innocuous thing that holds the power to unravel everything. My finger hovers over the play button, trembling. I don't know if I can do this, if I can face the reality of what's on this recording. Every time I think I'm ready, a wave of dread crashes over me, pulling me back. What if hearing it makes it more real, more permanent? What if I can't unhear the choices I made in that room with Jason? But I can't keep running from it either. I need to know. I need to understand what Mark heard, what he meant when he handed me this with that cold, detached look in his eyes. So, with a shaky breath, I press play. The audio starts, and it's like being sucked back into that suffocating space all over again. My own voice comes through first, hesitant and strained, followed by Jason's low, measured whispers. Every sound is captured in excruciating detail, the rustle of fabric, the uneven rhythm of my breathing, the subtle shifts in tone as I gave in to the moment. My stomach churns as I listen to myself, to the way I sounded so unlike the person I thought I was. My breaths on the recording feel foreign, like they belong to a stranger, someone I don't recognize. Each word, each sigh, is a dagger, cutting deeper into the shame I've been carrying since I walked out of that room. I want to stop it, to rip the flash drive out and throw it across the room. But I'm frozen, trapped by the weight of my own actions echoing through the speakers. Then, about halfway through, something changes. There's a glitch, a faint distortion in the audio, and beneath the layer of my voice and Jason's, I hear something else. A second track, muffled but unmistakable. It's Mark's voice, speaking to someone in another room. My blood runs cold as his words cut through the haze. "Let's see how far she'll go. I need to know." The sentence is short, clipped, but it hits me like a freight train. My hands start to shake uncontrollably, my breath hitching as the implication sinks in. Mark knew. He wasn't just aware of the experiment, he was complicit, maybe even the one who orchestrated it. He wanted to test me, to push me to some invisible edge just to see if I'd fall. I can't listen anymore. My fingers fumble as I stop the recording, slamming the laptop shut with more force than I mean to. The silence rushes back in, but it's not comforting. It's suffocating, pressing down on me as my mind races to make sense of what I just heard. The betrayal cuts deeper than anything I did in that room. It's not just about what happened with Jason anymore. It's about Mark, the man I've shared my life with for 8 years, standing behind the curtain and pulling the strings. Did he think I wouldn't find out? Did he think I'd never hear his voice on this recording, plotting to see how far I'd go? I sit there, staring at the closed laptop, my hands still trembling, and I question everything. Our marriage, his motives, the way I'm sitting in our living room now, the same space where this all began, where I first felt the weight of our silence pressing down on me. But it's different now. This room, with its sleek gray sectional and polished concrete floors, feels like a battlefield, scarred by invisible wounds that no one else can see. It's the early hours of the morning, the city outside still asleep, wrapped in a quiet that only deepens the heaviness in my chest. The floor-to-ceiling windows reveal a skyline dusted with the faintest hint of dawn, a pale gray creeping over the horizon, but it brings no relief. The air here is thick with everything unspoken, every betrayal, mine, his, ours. I can't shake the echo of his voice from that recording, those cold, calculated words looping in my mind like a broken record. Let's see how far she'll go. I need to know. It's a wound that keeps reopening, raw and unrelenting. Mark is here, sitting across from me on the other end of the sectional, his posture rigid, his face as unreadable as it was when he handed me that flash drive. The distance between us feels like miles, not feet, an unbridgeable chasm carved out by secrets and lies. I'm holding the flash drive in my hand, its edges digging into my palm as I grip it too tightly, as if it could anchor me to some kind of clarity. My voice breaks the silence, sharp and unsteady, cutting through the stillness like a blade. Did you plan this? Did you want me to fail? I don't look away as I ask it, my eyes locked on his, searching for any flicker of something, guilt, remorse, anything human. But he doesn't flinch. He just nods, slow and deliberate, like he's confirming a fact instead of shattering what's left of us. His voice comes out cold, clinical, like he's analyzing data in one of our boardroom meetings. I needed to know if there was anything left to feel, between us or in you. His words hit me like ice water, chilling me to the core. I feel my anger flare, hot and sudden, a wildfire raging through me, wanting to scream at him, to demand how he could play with me like I'm some kind of experiment, a variable to be tested. But just as quickly, the fire burns out, leaving nothing but ash and exhaustion in its wake. I'm too tired for this, too drained by the weight of everything that's happened. My shoulders slump, and I lean back against the couch, the fight draining out of me. I look at him, really look at him, and I say it. My voice quieter now, but firm. I don't regret what I did. I can't explain it, but I don't. What I can't do is trust you anymore. There's a finality in my words, a line drawn in the sand, and I mean every syllable. He doesn't argue, doesn't try to defend himself. He just stands, his movements as precise and detached as ever, and says, "Then decide what's next. I already have." Without another word, he turns and walks toward our bedroom, his footsteps fading down the hallway until I'm left alone with the suffocating quiet. I stay there, rooted to the couch, my gaze drifting to the windows, to the city skyline slowly waking under the creeping light of morning. The buildings stand like silent sentinels, indifferent to the mess of my life unfolding up here. I realize, with a clarity that cuts deep, that this experiment didn't rebuild us like I'd hoped in some desperate corner of my heart. It didn't stitch together the frayed edges of our marriage. Instead, it exposed us, stripped us down to the bone, revealing the strangers we've become. I don't know if we'll stay together, clinging to the wreckage of what we once were, or if we'll part ways, finally admitting that there's nothing left to salvage. But one thing I do know, with a certainty that both terrifies and steadies me, is that I've crossed a line I can't uncross. What happened with Jason, what I allowed to happen, has changed everything between us, and now I must face the consequences of my choices with courage and honesty. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment if you enjoyed this story. This will help us create more engaging stories for you.